everybody. I welcome you all to this joint venture of Math Club of MTTS Alumni and MTTS Trust.
No, right one.
Okay, MTTS program has been very successful because of the word of mouth propaganda by the MTTS alumni. And MTTS alumni is the one who keeps the spirit alive in various institutions across the country. So that way, MTTS Trust is very happy to collaborate with MTTS, the Math Club of MTTS alumni. Okay. And what we plan to do, Professor Baba will talk about it. Okay. And this will cater to a lot of topics at your level, BSc and MSc, and you will enrich your knowledge in the MTTS way. So you will not just learn jargon, but you will learn to think. You will learn to live the subject. That's our aim. I'm sure you will enjoy. Thank you very much. I request Baba to take over.
Good morning, everybody. So we are immensely happy to see that a group of MTTS alumni have come forward and formed a platform for the entire student community, and in particular the MTTS alumni. Okay, so this platform they have christened it as Curry Leaf, as Curry Leaf is the catalyst for making uh, making a dish very sweet, very tasty. Okay, so this curry leaf is going to be the catalyst for a variety of activities of MTTS alumni. So this is a math club of MTTS alumni. Okay, so this will cater to the various kind of needs. One is a platform where the MTTS alumni will come forward, make discussions. Okay, so various discussions about the subject. Okay, about various activities, recreational activities in mathematics and so forth. So it is kind of a platform given to, so which will facilitate to a large audience and in particular to the MTTS alumni. Okay, so we are very happy, the MTTS Trust is very happy to see that this has materialized. It has actually come into existence. Okay, so kind of things what was being planned by this group of people who has formed this platform is organizing various talks, various discussions. Okay, and then discussions among the participants, the alumni, the students community who has some experience of MTTS. So to further the experience, okay, and making discussions among yourself and making various activities among yourself. Okay, and then other things, so that Tamogna will tell briefly. Okay, so various plans are there from MTTS Trust. What we have decided, that though it is not exactly an MTTS body, but seeing the sincerity of the group and seeing the objective of this platform, we have decided that as long as this fulfills the MTTS methodology, MTTS principles, and MTTS objectives, will be with this platform, facilitating whatever capacity we have, whatever efforts they have, we can complement. So we'll be taking care of that. Okay, with all our best wishes. So today, the platform has kick-started its lecture series with Dr. Satyanarayana Reddy's lecture on pigeonhole principle and its applications. So we welcome all of you, not only for this lecture, but we welcome you all to join this platform and use this platform for enhancement of your experience of mathematics learning. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
Uh,
Uh, may I request the members of the Curry Leaf to switch on their video and show? The people should know who are the people. behind the name curry leaf? Alapan, Tamagna, Jyoti, and who else?
Manmohan, Sangeeta.
Manmohan, yeah. And of course, Sangeeta. But I don't think they were turned up today. They may have some work.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you switch on your video and come online? Tamagna, Alapan, Jyoti?
Yes, sir.
If you
Yes,
want to, if you want to, of course.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Alapan is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Jyoti is there.
yeah. Right. Okay. Now I request Tamagna to say a few words on behalf of Curry Leaf.
Okay,
Come on.
thank you, sir. So, good morning, everybody. Curry Leaf is a math club of MTTS alumni, and the core idea behind this platform is to get connected. The core idea behind this platform is to get connected and enrich ourselves through various mathematical activities and grow and learn all over the year so many things through this platform. And other activities will also be there in this regards. So for now, this is a lecture series, and the time will slowly say that what are the other things that will come slowly. And now, where we go with the first lecture, Pigeonhole Principle and its application. We are very thankful to MTTS Trust for this collaboration. And on behalf of Curry Leaf, I am again welcome you to all. A cordial welcome to all. And Satya sir will start this past series. So now I am requesting Satya sir to start this series, past lecture. Yes, sir. Now screen is all yours. Okay.
Yeah. So good morning to all of you. For make it convenient to attend the discussion. We are thankful to Curry Leaf members make it possible, and we are thankful to MTTS Trust for supporting their further support. So, so in this talk, I'm going to discuss some certain utilization of pigeonhole principle. Pigeonhole principle is very simple, easy to state. So you can see the diagram here. So the picture itself is telling. So there are four pigeons and three pigeonholes, right? So then automatically, so two pigeon has to be in one pigeonhole. That is actually simple. It is easy to state pigeonhole principle. So, but it has a lot of applications. Today we are going to discuss its applications mainly, right? So I'm going to start with one problem in one of the lectures. So students are struggling. At that moment, Professor Kumaresan sir came and gave this example, and so after that, that went very well. So I remember that, and so I am just starting with that example. Suppose there are 4 children. Okay, so let us say LKG students, right? So child 1 has 20 chocolates, right? Assume that is his or her birthday. The child 1 want to distribute these 20 chocolates to other 3 children. Yeah, so how child 1 can do? Right? I hope the question is very simple. So many of you can answer it. So what that child 1 will do first, since she's LKG student, so he does not know division, multiplication and other things. So can somebody tell what happens, how he'll distribute? Yeah, Keshav?
So she will go one by one and
One by one. So how in first iteration, how many he will give?
one.
1. So 3 chocolates are done. So now in the rest of 17, he again distribute. Then what happens finally?
Eventually, all the last 3 will remain distributed.
So are there any chocolates remain or all will be distributed?
All will be distributed if they don't get equal.
So, but actually, I'll tell you what Professor Kumaresan sir told. So after 18 chocolates, 2 chocolates will be there. Then they start fighting, right? So, but of course, the child 1 is intelligent enough. So he may say that, okay, it is my birthday. So I given you 6 each. So I'll keep 2 with me, right? Okay. Otherwise, if they're not, then if they are like pigeons, then you have to give. So So now one of the, as you already pointed out, one of the child will get more than 6, right? Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that is exactly the pigeonhole principle is. So yeah, so you know that from childhood, you know that 20 if I divided by 3, then quotient is 2, quotient is 6, and remainder is 2. So that will express like this, right? 20 is equal to 3 into 6 plus 2, and here 6 is the quotient and 2 is the remainder. So you are familiar with it, but in general, how do you extend it? If b is any natural number, so I defined bz. That means b is multiplied to each and every element of z on the real line. So how do you plot it? The plot is going to be like this, right? You know this part. So now if I take any a belongs to integer, so where a lies in the above diagram. So that is the goal, right? So is the following situation arise? That is the question, right? So for example, I take a b and I'll plot b, 2b, 3b and everything on the real line. And I take an arbitrary integer. So where that a lies? And is it this case is possible or not? That is also we are asking. Yeah, so Suraj, please do not write here. Yeah, so so for in particular, if b is equal to 3 and a is equal to 20, so can you plot bz and mark 20 on that? Right? So is anybody can answer that? Is the above situation arises with this example now at least? Can you raise your hand? Sorry, can you tick yes if you're able to answer? My question is that is the case arises? A is lies in between QB and Q plus 1 into B. Yeah, Sunny Tiwari.
Yes, sir. It will be between 18 and 21.
18 and 21 in this case, though it is lies. Yeah, it happens, right? Good, thanks. You can move on. So this is what we call division algorithm. So it is extends to even negative integers also. So the division algorithm hypothesis is very simple. If a is an integer and b is any integer but not 0. So that is the hypothesis. Just it requires two integers, a and b, but one of them is non-zero. Then it gives wonderful. That is, there exist unique integers q and r such that a is equal to bq plus r, where r is lies in between 0 and modulus of b. And you know r is the remainder. So in general, okay, so if I divide this a is equal to bq plus r by b, then what is going to happen? So I'll get a by b is equal to q plus r by b. So if I take the greatest integer part, then this r by b becomes 0, right? That greatest integer of r by b becomes 0. That means exactly q is equal to the greatest integer of a by b. So this is just a connection to greatest integer function and the quotient. Okay, so now come to the pigeonhole principle. If we have n objects are to be placed in k boxes, okay, and n is equal to qk plus r, where q and r are positive integers, and r is now the remainder is greater than 0. It is a positive remainder. Then what happens? Then at least one box contains. So somebody can say. Is the question clear? We have n objects that have to be placed in k boxes, and n is equal to qk plus r, right? And r is greater than 0. Then what happens? Yeah, Miss Tanu, yeah, tell.
Then at least one box will contain q.
Q
object.
or, but here r is greater than 0. So like earlier case, you saw that 20 chocolates are distributed to 3 children, right? Yes. Tanu Kajal?
Sir, n plus 1 object.
N plus 1?
Objects.
Okay. Any other person? Any other answer? Let us see. Kuldeep Kumar?
Yes, sir. Q plus 1 objects.
At least Q plus 1 objects. Okay. Joel Shaliba?
Yeah, yes, sir. So at least one box will contain more than Q objects.
More than Q objects. Good. Yeah. So that is correct, right? Yeah. So that is what exactly the pigeonhole principle is. Is it easy to see that part? So you can see, so those people who are not comfortable with this division algorithm, I told that way, but if you are not comfortable, then you know all of you functions, right? So for example, I have a function with k plus 1 elements to k elements. Okay, then what we can say about that function, right? So can somebody say that part? So now I'm erasing all of you, clearing all of you. So now can say now. Yeah, Keshav.
Yes, sir. So one element will map to two. Same. Two elements will be mapped to same.
What can you say about this function? Do you say something about this function? I have a map from k plus 1 elements to k elements.
It is onto.
It is onto.
Sir, I did not get it.
No, I have a function. I have a function from k plus 1 elements to k elements. I have a function. Yes.
Can you draw picture of k plus 1 elements on x and k
Yes.
elements on y?
Yeah.
Oh, you. Shall I draw it for you? Or,
Yeah, you can draw, sir. Actually, again, I have to go.
So okay, then you just go ahead. I'll keep
yeah.
my thing ready.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't notice that you are using presentation. Yeah.
So actually thing is that, yeah, so somebody else, yeah. G443, Lavanya. Sayan Ghosh, Sayan, G558.
Yes, sir, the function may be the many-one function.
Many-one function. So we do not discuss many-one function like that. Tanveer Singh.
So can you please repeat?
No, I have a function with set domain contains k plus 1 elements.
So sir, it's a many-to-one function. Or there will be at least one element which is mapping to more than one. Sorry, at least two elements which will be mapping to one element.
So can you say in terms of images or pre-images something?
Okay, so I'll say there is a image of one element. There are two images for one element. No, I'm so sorry. For one element, there are two pre-images.
So are you able to see the diagram now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here we have k plus 1 elements, and here we have in the y we have only k elements.
Yes.
You take any function you take, what happens? That is the question I'm asking you, right?
So what do you think will happen? Yeah.
Sorry, what will happen as in I'm failing to understand the question.
You call it x1, x2, xk plus 1. On the right side, y1, y2, yk. And remember, f is a function. Therefore, for each x in the domain, fx is defined. So what happens to the function?
So for some f of x1, there would be a y1.
Yes, Sayan, can you say something? Sarika? Yeah, Sarika.
Yes, at least two elements in X having a one image in Y. That is not a one-one function, many-one function.
It is not a one-one function, that we can say, right?
Yes, sir.
Why it cannot be one-one?
Because two elements in X having a one image.
Yeah, it is not one-one function, right? Yeah, good. So for example, f is a map from a to b, and it is a function with a is equal to 10 elements and b is equal to 3. Then what we can say? So please participate. Do not raise your hand. Tick yes or no. Okay. Yeah, something can be said. So in the earlier case, what happens that we have k plus 1 elements mapped to k elements, at least one element in the codomain. What are the function you take? At least one element in the codomain have at least two pre-images, right? So now somebody can say here, Jayarajan P.
Sir, there are at least 4 different elements in the domain having same images in the codomain.
Yeah, that means that at least one element in the codomain has 4 pre-images. What are the function you take? So yeah, so this is, yeah, so those who are comfortable with functions, we can think pigeonhole principle as a functions. Like for example, domain is set of all pigeons, codomain is set of all pigeonholes, right? So that say cardinality of P equal to M and cardinality of PH, pigeonholes is N. If M is greater than N, then what going to happen, right? So I'm mapping a pigeons will go to pigeonholes, right? Suppose that the pigeons are greater than pigeonholes. So in particular, in this particular case, when cardinality of P equal to M and cardinality of PH is equal to N, then what we can say? Yeah, G624.
Yoshita?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want to say something?
No, sir, I wanted to say that in the case that A equals mod A equals to 10 and
yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
Sarika?
Yes, sir. At least 2 pigeons will have to go to 1 pigeonhole.
In particular, you can say more like 4 you told, that number you can also guess. Okay, so think about that. We'll come back if time permits. Okay, so now, so let us see a few examples of to understand much more clearly. Let n be an integer and greater than or equal to 2. Suppose we have n plus 1 integers are selected randomly. Okay, so now our goal is to prove that there is 2 numbers among them. Okay, the difference is divisible by n. Okay, so if you choose any n plus 1 numbers randomly, there exist 2 numbers among them, which is their difference is divisible by n. So I'll explain with the quantifiers. So I am defining an plus 1 is set of all subsets of Z with n plus 1 elements, right? An plus 1 is set of all subsets of Z with n plus 1 elements. Now, given any S in an plus 1, that means S contains n plus 1 elements, then there exist 2 integers x and y in S such that n divides x minus y. This is a notation for n divides x minus y. Okay, so instead of writing n divides, we will write n divide. This is the notation. Yeah, so is anybody can have the solution? Can think of? Yeah, Lalit Mohan.
Yes, sir. So since n plus 1 integers are selected, and we can write every integer as nt plus 1 or nt plus 2 or something like that. nt plus r लिख सकते हैं, where r is between 0 and n, and including 0. So मतलब इसका मतलब है कि 2 of them would have the same r.
Remainder.
n plus 1 select करें, remainder same होगा, तो difference मतलब divisible by n.
Okay, good. Yeah, that is exactly. So what are the pigeons? What are the pigeonholes here? So I'll explain what Lalit told. So let cube, you know that if I divide a by n, there is a quotient and a remainder, and we will write a is equal to n cube plus r, and r is lies in between 0 and n, including 0. But r is strictly less than n. So now we have n plus 1 integers. So they are going to yield n plus 1 remainders, right? So they are n plus 1 remainders, that is, so they are pigeons now. But there are only n possible remainders. They are pigeonholes. So therefore, by pigeonhole principle, 2 of the remainders must be equal. So let us say x and y are corresponding integers. So when I divide x by n, so I may get some remainder. So n q1 plus r. Y also will give the same remainder, right? So y is equal to n q2 plus r. So for some quotients q1 and q2. So their difference x minus y is, now it is a multiple of n. So that means n divides x minus y. Is it clear to all of you? So if it is clear, please click yes. If no, if any doubts, please raise your
hand. Yeah. You can use more, there you will see. Raise hand. Raise hand will be there.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. How to click yes and no? I didn't get that.
No, you click on participants.
Yes, sir.
And below you will see the list of participants. Below you will see hand raise. Yeah, yes, no, go slower, go faster. That's it.
Yeah, so I think
feel free. If you have any problem, raise hand. Professor Satya will explain again.
Okay, yeah, I think most of you got it, so I'll proceed further. Yeah, okay. So if you really understand, then okay, this is the question. So, so somebody can clear. Actually, for me, clear all is not working.
No, I'm clearing. I'm clearing automatically. Yeah.
So there is an element in the sequence. Okay, so this is the question. Next question is that there is an element in the sequence 777, 777 like that, which is divisible by 2021. That is the question. Okay, I'll let you know why I choose 2021. There are two reasons. I'll tell you the first reason now itself. I do not like 2020. Okay, as you know why. All of you are very in bad situation. So we want to go ahead of this. That is one reason. I'll tell you the other reason later. Okay. So now is the question clear to all of you? So what I am saying that if you take the sequence 777, 777 like that, if you keep on going, I am sure that at least one element will be there in the sequence, which is divisible by 2021. Of course, 7 is not divisible by 2021, 77, but there is some element in the sequence which is divisible by 2021. Is the question clear? If the question clear, please click yes. So now onwards, we'll go a little fast. So I request all of you click respond fastly. If its question is clear, click yes.
Yeah, I think it's clear to all.
Yeah. So now then somebody, now I'm clearing all of you. So now, so if you know the answer, if you want to give the answer, then please click yes. How
Those
to
who
solve
have
this?
an idea about the answer, please say yes if you have some kind of an idea for the answer.
Chaitanya?
Sir, we can use congruence one by one.
So can you elaborate?
Actually, sir, I don't remember the congruence topic properly,
Okay.
but
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we can tell in terms of reminders. If you do congruent, anyhow, that it is congruent to what? You are dividing by what?
By 2021.
Okay, you are dividing by 2021. Okay. So if you divide any number by 2021, it is congruent to what? Can you say that part? Can you recall that?
0.
If you take some number, if you do congruence to that one, so that is it. That number is congruent to something modulo 2021. You can say that part.
Satya.
Okay, Chaitanya. Yeah. So just think of in terms of reminders.
Right. Yeah, I think he has seen a proof using something similar using congruence, so that's why he is struggling. Let us stick to reminders.
Yeah, Sayan, G558.
Yes, sir. If we divide it by 2021, then there will be remainder 0, 1, dot, 220. And we can see that their sequence is infinite, and there will be that greater than number of elements greater than 2021. It assures that by pigeonhole principle that there are at least two elements, two sequence that whose remainder will be same.
Yeah, good.
Okay. If is the same, then they will lie 0 less than is equal to 2020.
Correct.
So this, yes.
Then afterwards, okay, that then so two elements have same remainder. Then
yes, sir. If two same remainder same, then their difference also be divisible by, and their difference obviously lies between them.
No, difference is divisible by 2021. For example, 7747 minus 27. The difference is 7700. But that means 2021 is dividing that part only. But I want every digit in that is 777 only, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that is not till done. Yeah. So okay. So but we'll go slowly. So what is that saying is that so it is infinite. Actually, you given so many numbers. Actually, how many are sufficient? Actually, can you say that part, Sayan?
Sir, 2022.
22 required for your argument. What happens if I take only 2021?
Yes, sir. If we omit 7, then
No, I'm saying just to take 2021 numbers only, first 2021 numbers. What are the
yes,
possibilities? If one of them is already giving reminder 0, I'm done, right?
yes, sir.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'll choose first 2021 numbers. If one of them is divisible by 2021, I am done already. Otherwise, what happens is first 2021 numbers are giving reminders from 1 to 2020, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then your argument I will use, since at least 2 of them, so there are 2021 numbers, but only reminders are 1 to 2020. 2 of them will give the same reminder. I'll take their difference, and I'll let us work.
Yes.
Yeah. Even 2021 will also work. Good.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, you can mute. You will continue. So for that, we need one simple result that. So is it true that if A divides BC, then A divides B or A divides C? So I'm asking, so if you know the answer, please click yes. Is it true or no? So if it is true, please tick yes. If it is false, click no. Is it true that if A divides BC, then A divides either A divides B or A divides C? So Madhur, G352, Madhura. Jayarajan P.
Yes, sir.
You tick no. Why it is no? You ticked?
Is prime.
I do not told anything. A prime or not prime, nothing I told. So I'm just simply asking this. Is it true or false? You told false. Why it is false?
Not necessarily true. Not
okay. Not necessarily true means, but if it is true, then what? If it is not true, then what is that you have to do?
If I didn't get, sir.
If it is not true, you are saying it is false, a statement is false, then what is that you have to do? You have to give a counter example.
Yeah.
So can you have a counter example?
Yeah. I have to think.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Divya? Divya Barmeda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Here A has to be prime, then only this will be true. Else A can be the multiple of B and C, and where B and C are prime numbers.
Okay. But I am not told anything about the numbers, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So it is not true in general.
In general, but it is not true means we have to give us some counter example. Do we have any? That's what the question now. Okay.
Okay, so suppose B is 2 and C is...
B is 2 and C is 3, then?
Suppose B is 2, C is 3 and A is 6. Then A neither divides B nor C, but A divides B and C.
Good. Yeah, that is a good example. Yes, you are correct that what Divya is saying that 6 divides 2 into 3, but 6 does not divide 2, 6 does not divide 3. Right? Yeah,
in fact, he said more general to start with.
Yes.
If I take two distinct primes and their product is as A and B and C are the distinct primes.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, he didn't put it properly, but that's exactly what he said.
Yes. So, but see, you can see that if GCD of A comma B equal to 1, then it is true. In that case, what is going to happen is that A divides C. So I'm not giving the proof here. So this is one result we are using today. So A divides BC, and if A comma B GCD is equal to 1, then A divides C. So so if time permits, I'll give the proof, but we are using that today. Okay. So in general, A divides BC does not imply that A divides B, A divides C. But if GCD of A comma B equal to 1, then it is sure that A divides C. So with that, how do you prove that result now? See, 2021, this is the second reason for choosing 2021. So as somebody pointed out that it divides the difference. So now when I subtract 777 minus some other 777, so I'll get some multiple of 1000 or 100 or something. So that number with GCD 2021 is 1. So that's why it divides the other number. So that is the proof. Okay. So I'm just proceeding further. So is it okay? So is it clear to all of you? So I'm erasing now, clearing all of you. Any doubts, you let me know.
I think it's better to explain again.
Okay. Yeah. So what is that we are telling is that I'll take first 2021 numbers. If one of them is divisible by 2021, I'm done, right? If it is not, then when we divide those numbers by 2021, they will give reminders from 1 to 2020. So 2021 numbers, 2021 numbers, but they are reminders are only from 1 to 2020. That means only 2020 numbers only. That means at least 2 numbers will give the same reminder. So I'll take the difference. So that difference is some certain 7s followed by zeros, right? So that I'll multiply, I'll write it as at product of 2 numbers. The first number is again, it is content 777 like that. And remaining part is either it is 1,000 or 100 or 1 lakh or like that. So that part is not divisible. The GCD of that number with the 2021 is 1. So it has to divide the other number by this. Okay. So I'll proceed further. So next question is this: m is an odd number. Let m be an odd number. Prove that there exists an integer n such that m divides 2 power n minus 1. Okay. So try to understand the question first. Let m is an odd number. Prove that there exists a positive integer n such that m divides 2 power n minus 1. Okay. So in terms of quantifiers, how do you specify that? So for given any odd number, there exists a natural number n such that m divides 2 power n minus 1. So anybody have any idea? Okay, fine. So it goes like this, means you simply I taking first to consider m plus 1 positive integers. This is the hint I am giving. So now how many of you can see that? This is one way to prove. Try to understand that this pigeonhole principle is a technique, is a method to prove certain results. So a lot of results can be proved by using this technique. So yeah, Keshav?
Sir, we consider the remainder. Obviously, m won't divide any of them. It's odd. So 2 of them must have the same remainder.
Okay.
So if we take difference and factor out the smaller power of 2,
right?
So we have a number of this form 2n minus 1, and since m does not divide 2 to the power k, so we are done.
Is it all of you are clear? See, we have here, when I divided by m, these numbers 2 square up to 2 power m plus 1, there are total. So then at least 2 numbers will give the same remainder, right? So let us say 2 power a and 2 power b, they are giving the same remainders. So then I will, so let us assume a is less than b. Then 2 power b minus a, okay, into some number, that is, right? So that remaining part, that is, so 2 power b minus a into some portion, right? So this m does not divide this portion, 2 power b minus a, that GCD is 1. Again, the same, m and m is an odd number. So that's why it has to divide the rest of the part. The rest of the part is of the form 2 power k minus 1, right? Yeah, good. So, so this can be extended now. Let GCD of m comma n equal to 1. Then there exists an integer k such that.
Satya, would you like to give some time for the students?
Yeah, okay, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Is it clear to all of you? Is the question clear? Is it proof is clear? So Keshav, can you explain one more time?
No, I think Keshav has already explained. If at all amount of
Lalit Mohan, yeah.
Yes. So he basically said that because an odd number cannot divide a power of 2 from 2 square m plus 1, and since we have m plus 1 integer, and since remainder 0 कभी किसी में नहीं आएगा, तो इसका मतलब 2 नंबर होंगे जिनका सेम रिमाइंडर आएगा. एंड इफ यू सबट्रैक्ट देम तो रिमाइंडर तो कट जाएगा. सॉरी 2 की पावर हम बाहर ले लेंगे और फिर हमारे पास अंदर 2 raised to power something t minus 1 का फॉर्म आएगा जो उसकी
right. Yeah, correct. Yeah, okay, good. So this result can be extended further. So if GCD of m comma n equal to 1, then there exists a case as that m divides n power k minus 1. Exactly the same way. You take n square, n cube, and so on, right? Okay. So another question is of this nature. Given a sequence of m integers, a1, a2 up to am. Okay, I have taken m integers, a1, a2 up to am. Show that there exist a consecutive terms in this sequence whose sum is divisible by m. That is, show that there exist I and j. So I and j lies between 1 and m. So that ai plus ai plus 1 and so on, aj is divisible by m. Is the question clear to all of you? So I take m integers, a1, a2, am. So I am taking their sums. So there is a consecutive terms in the sequence whose sum is divisible by m. So if you are clear with the question, please click yes. Just question. Okay. See, what I'm saying is that so m divides either a1 plus a2 or m divides a3 plus a5 plus a7 or m divides something like that. So there exists some consecutive numbers in between, right? Consecutive elements. So for example, here I wrote ai, comma ai plus 1 and so on, aj. That is divisible by m. There exists some I and j. Such that ai to aj, their entire sum is divisible by m. That is the question. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you that and in more now. That will give answer also to you. So I'm saying that m divides a1, or m divides a1 plus a2, or m divides a1 plus a2 plus a3, or m divides a2 plus a3 plus a4. Any consecutive sum. So if you take m integers arbitrarily, then there exists some consecutive integers among them, consecutive numbers. M divide their sum. Okay, so those who ticked, so somebody can give the, do you have any answer now? I'm clearing all.
Satya, maybe can we make it somewhat simpler? I think some students may be struggling.
Yeah. Okay, so you take.
Suppose I have m equal to 2, I have 3 numbers a, b, c. Then what are the consecutive things I can think of? A plus b, a plus b plus c, or b plus c, or b, right? These are the possibilities. You have to think of consecutive term. The sum is what you have to look at. Now, what are the possible remainders when you divide by? Now, my m is 3. Look at a plus b plus c. I think we should make them think instead of giving a proof.
Yes. See, we have 3 numbers a, b, c, right? There are any three integers. Now we are saying that 3 divides either a plus b, or b plus c, or a plus b plus c, like that. Overall question is it divides a, it divides b, it divides c, or it divides a plus b, or it divides b plus c, or it divides a plus b plus c, like that. Okay. But we already given some hint also. Look at a plus b, and a plus b plus c. Yes, Shivam.
Yes.
Sir. Do you have some idea?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm not getting the question exactly.
No, the question is that, see, okay, so very simple case is that you take 3 integers a, b, c, okay?
Yes, sir.
Arbitrarily, any 3 integers. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we are
Yes,
claiming
sir.
that 3 divides one of them.
So I think this consecutive they are not, getting.
Yes, sir.
So suppose you have 10 numbers, okay, in order. So 10 numbers are ordered, not necessarily increasing, decreasing, they are ordered. A1, A2,
Yes,
A3, A10, okay.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you mean by say consecutive sum?
Means
Consecutive terms, so say A5, A6, A7, they are consecutive terms.
yes, sir.
So similarly, some consecutive sum, maybe say A1 to A5, or say A3 to A9,
Yes,
or
sir.
say A6 itself. So these are, they are sum. So consecutive terms, they are sum. So there must be some consecutive terms whose sum is divisible by m. This is what it says. So for 3, if you have 3, then ABC, then what are consecutive term sums? So it may be A, it may be B, it may be C, or A plus B, or B plus C, or A plus B plus C. So these are consecutive term sums. So at least out of this, all this, there must be one which will be divisible by 3. Rajat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shubham Jaiswal. Shubham. Okay. Lavanya. G443. Sunny Tiwari, you want to say something?
May I?
Yeah, yes.
So if we consider the sequences to be such that A1, A1 plus A2, and so on, A1 plus A2 plus A3, and so on till A1, A1, A2, A3, until AN. Okay. So we can say that A1 plus A2 plus AI is equal to is getting divided by some M. Okay. So if one of the remainders R1, R2, R3 is 0, so we can say हम लोग बोलते कोई RI है या RK है वो 0 है. Then we can say हमारा जो A1, A2, AM कोई भी AN arbitrary I है AI तक is a multiple of N. If one of the अगर वो R1, R2, Rn 0 है तो if none of वो नहीं है मतलब I mean 0 नहीं है, then then दो ऐसे then two of them भी रह गए वो m-1 से कम रह गए या फिर for all m-1 से हाँ, और अगर वो दोनों सेम रह गए तो वी कैन से कि ये जो भी है वो उन मतलब दो उसके कोई भी हम लोग दो सीक्वेंस पकड़ रहे हैं RK, एक का RK रिमाइंडर, एक का RL है. हम बोल सकते हैं अगर K स्मॉलर देन L है तो इसका मतलब वो दोनों का रिमाइंडर सेम रहेगा, बस ये पूरा एक मल्टीपल रहेगा इनका.
Satya?
Yes, sir.
If you think the student has a kind of right idea, he is going to prove, I think then we can stop and you should explain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what he told.
Because
sir,
for people like me who don't understand Hindi, I do not know.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, so what
So
he is saying.
a lot of time is wasted then.
Yeah. Yes, yes, sir. What he told is that so he is telling.
No,
that
I understood Hindi's case. Okay, I'm just saying very general principle.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure. So actually, what he is saying is that A1 plus A2, A1 plus A2 plus A3, and so on. A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on, AM. So he asking us to take those numbers. A1 first number, A1 plus A2 second number, like that. So A1 plus A2 plus AM total now how many numbers we have? Total we have M numbers. So what he's saying that if I now divide all of these numbers, A1 plus A2 and so on, by M, if one of them will give the remainder 0, we are done. Otherwise, two of them will give the same remainder. I'll subtract them. So then I'll get the consecutive terms, right? So there we are starting from A1. So in the difference, we'll get a consecutive terms. Yeah, so that is good. Yeah.
Let us go slow again.
Yeah.
See, let S1 be equal to A1, S2 equal to A1 plus A2, S3 will be A1 plus A2 plus A3, SM will be A1 plus A2 plus AM. How many numbers are there? S1, S2, SM, M numbers are there. So you are going to divide by M. If one of them remainder 0, then you are already through. right? If Sj is divisible by m, you are already through. Do you agree? Yes? If not, none of them is divisible by 3. That means the remainders will run from 1 to m minus 1. Right? But there are m numbers. Therefore, either Si and Sj both will have the same remainder R. Let us assume I is less than j. Then Sj minus Si will start from Ai plus 1, Ai plus 2 plus Aj. That is divisible by m. Do all of you understand? Please say yes. I am clearing everybody.
Okay, yeah, so we'll proceed. So the question is that if you select arbitrarily n plus 1 numbers from 1 to 2n, okay? If I choose any n plus 1 numbers arbitrarily from 1 to 2n, so then there exists a pair of selected integers whose sum is 2n plus 1. If you choose any arbitrarily n plus 1 numbers from 1 to 2n, there exists a pair of numbers among them. Their sum is 2n plus 1. Is the question clear? If it is clear, please tick yes. Okay, good. So I will come to answer later. So I'll now ask another question. So you start thinking about the solution to the first question. If you get it, then I will come back to you. There is at least one pair of selected integers whose difference is n. Again, the same hypothesis. So I took any n plus 1 numbers from 1 to 2n. There is at least one pair of selected integers whose difference is n. Okay. Another question is that there is again some pair, they are relatively prime. Okay. So I hope this is the thing. So now we'll go one by one. So what about the first questions? So I'm clearing all of you. So any one of you can tell the first question, solution to the first one. So we have some idea. So look at the question. I'm taking arbitrarily n plus 1 numbers from 1 to 2n. I'm claiming that there exists at least one pair of integers whose sum is 2n plus 1.
Yes, Etta.
Yes, sir.
Because we have another, say, 7 to 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So would you like to also
sir.
dwell upon some other kind of
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what actually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So see, so here what is going to happen is that if you choose these numbers I and 2n plus 1 minus I, right? So 1 2n, so 1 2n and 2 2n minus 1 like that. If you choose these pairs, so we'll get n pairs only, right? So now if I choose n plus 1 numbers, then at least two element has to be in one. So these are the pigeonholes and the pigeons are n plus 1 numbers. So we are able to construct only n pigeons like this: 1 2n, 2 2n minus 1, 3 2n minus 2, and so on. Their sum is equal to 2n plus 1. So if I choose n plus 1 number, then two of them has to be in the same pigeonhole. So their sum is automatically 2n plus 1. Similarly for the second question, so 1 and n plus 1, 2, n plus 2, and so on, right? Then I am creating n pigeonholes. Now if you take n plus 1 number, they have to be in the same pigeonhole. That's why their difference has to be going to be n. I hope these are very clear, I hope so. And similarly for relatively prime, so I take 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2n minus 1, 2n. So I am just giving one solution, one way to create pigeonholes and pigeons. It is, we can create many other ways. Yeah, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, the consecutive numbers. You know that consecutive numbers are relatively prime. So I'm able to construct n pairs like this. They are relatively prime. So if I choose n plus 1 numbers, then what is going to happen? So at least two elements will be in the same pair, right? They are going to be relatively prime. So that is the thing. So here I will ask one more question to you. So this is a just exercise to you. So at the end you can tell. So again, if I take n plus 1 numbers from 1 to 2n, at least one number will divide the other. There will be at least two numbers, one number divided with the other. So I'll go forward and again I will ask at the end. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now, so let us see some problems in geometry. So let us, given a 5 points in the plane. Okay. So still it is a little bit geometry and number theory. Given 5 points in the plane with integer coordinates. So that there exists a pair of points whose midpoint is also integer coordinates. Is the question clear? I am taking xy plane, but I am taking only the lattice point, that is only integer coordinates. How many points I choose? I choose 5 points. So now my claim is that at least one pair among these will be there. Their midpoint is also integer coordinates. Okay. So how can you do that? So we'll take like this. So I take pairs in such a way that both are odd, one of them is odd, right? And odd, even odd, like that, all the cases. Okay. So now, so all the points, integer points, I divide into 4 sets. These are the pigeonholes now. So I choose 5 points, then they have to be in one of the pigeonhole only, right? Then automatically, so both are of the same x, and then it is easy to see that their midpoint is also integer coordinate. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll go to some problems in geometry. Show that among 5 points inside an equilateral triangle of side length 1, there exist 2 points whose distance is at most 1/2. Is the question clear? So I choose 5 points inside an equilateral triangle, okay, of side length 1. So what is that we need to show is that there exist at least 2 points whose distance is at most 1. Is the question clear to all of you? If it is clear, please click yes. I take an equilateral triangle, each side length is 1. Now I'm choosing 5 points inside. I'm claiming that at least among these 5 points, there is 2 points whose distance is at most 1/2. Yeah, Vanshika, is a Vanshika?
Yes, sir.
So you understand the question, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you have answer also? How to prove that?
Sir, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So now I am clearing all of you. So any one of you know the solution? How to?
Yeah. If you see, I mean, by now, because we are talking about pigeonhole principle. So by now you should be, I mean, I think you are clear that I have 5 points, okay, and I'm talking about pigeonhole principle. That means in some way I need to look for 4 good pigeonholes. And these points are on your triangle. So can you think of 4 pigeonholes on the triangle? Maybe, I mean, to think about it may be your hint. This is how I'll start thinking. Look for 4 pigeonholes.
Yeah, Ritul?
Sir, we can take 3 midpoints on the 3 sides of an equilateral triangle,
okay,
and join them. We will get 4 smaller triangles.
Okay. So this is what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you are saying that I'll take the midpoints of AB, midpoints of BC, and midpoints of AC. I join them. Now the triangle is divided into 4 equilateral triangles. Okay. Then.
And now we are considering 5 points, and we have 4 pigeonholes.
Very good. So 5 points and 4 pigeonholes. Then at least 2 of them will be there in the one triangle. We are taking inside. Yeah. So then at least 2 of them have at most distance 1/2. I hope this is easy to see, but how many of you are clear with the thing? If you are clear, please click yes. Ritul, if you are clear with Ritul argument. Okay.
Just a small comment.
Yes, please. Yes.
That after this class, please think over that why that distance should be at most half. Please convince yourself that that will be at most half.
Yeah. Thanks, Samoguna. Yeah. So similarly, this is similar question. So I think most of you will tell. So 10 points given within a square of unit size. Then there are at least 2 of them. Each is closer to 0.48. Now I think many of you will come now. What are the pigeonholes and pigeons? Just one more attempt. Yeah, so I am clearing now all of you. So I'm taking now 10 points within a square of unit size. The question is that two of them will be there closer each to each other 0.48. Yeah, so can you click now if you have understand the question? Saswita Guha?
Yes, sir.
You understand the question, or you want to tell the some sort of
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm thinking, sir.
Yeah, okay, please. Shivam Kumar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you have any idea?
Yes, sir. We can take 2 points on each side at same distance.
Okay.
Yes, sir. They will create.
Yeah, please proceed.
Yes, sir. Sir, 4 16 pigeonholes.
So, but you
no.
You told 2 points, right?
Yes, sir.
2 points in the
then
square.
2 points will remain. Yes, sir. And
see, if you take it for 16 by 16, then I have total 16. You are taking only 2 points inside, right? On each side.
So 9 pigeonholes will be there.
Yeah. Now you have 10 points, so then it will, right? Yeah. So what you said is you take 2 points inside in each side, right? Then if you join them, then you will get 9 squares, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you take 10 points,
and
then 2 of them will be in the same. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So then again, as Tamagna told, you have to check that y distance is less than 0.48. Okay, less than or equal to. So each side length is 1. Okay, now we divided like this. So similar question of that nature. Okay, so but I'll go a little forward here. So this question is that to prove among any 10 points located on a circle with a diameter 5, there are at least 2 points whose distance is less than 2 from each other. So here, so you know nth roots of unity, you take 9th roots of unity. 9th roots of unity, divide the circle into 9 parts and you can try it. Okay. Yeah. So another simple question of related nature. So I take a equilateral triangle ABC and a square MNPQ are inscribed in a circle of circumference say S. None of the vertices of the triangle coincide with the vertex of the square. Okay. So thus their vertices divide the circle into 7 arcs. Prove that at least one of the arcs is not greater than S by 24. Okay. Okay, so what is that? I'm just explaining that in this way. The 3 vertices on the triangle divide the circle into 3 arcs, right? So there are 4 vertices of the square. So then what happens? So first I constructed the triangle, right? So I'm giving the triangle. So triangle, we have the triangle ABC that is inscribed, and MNPQ also inscribed. But a triangle, now first triangle is divided the circle into 3 parts. So 3 arcs we got. Now these 4 vertices, 4 vertices and 3 arcs. So at least 2 vertices of the square has to be in the 1 arc of the given by the triangle, right? So M and N lie on the some arc AB. So now the goal is to see that it's one of the arcs, okay, either AM or BN or MN. So MN, AM or BN, we going to see that its distance is not greater than S by 24. Okay, so this is the actual where we are using pigeonhole principle is that at least 2 vertices of the square will be in the same one arc. So then see that the proof now becomes easy. Now this is the main goal actually, pigeonholes and pigeon. So then now proof is become simple. So if you denote the length of the segment arc is by L of xy, you know that L of AB is S by 3. Entire circumference is S. So length of the arc AB is S by 3. Length of the arc MN is S by 4. So now this AM, arc length AM and arc length BN, okay, their sum is equal to S by 3 minus S by 4. S by 3 length, I am subtracting S by 4, right? So that is S by 12. So one of these arcs length is S by 24. So this is the way we can use the things, okay? So now I am going to some problems in combinatorics, 1 or 2 problems. So during a month of 30 days.
I'm so sorry, sir. Can you please, can you show the last question again?
Okay, sorry for going little fast. So I have an equilateral triangle ABC and a square MNPQ. Both are inscribed in the circle of circumference S. None of the vertices will coincide with none of the vertices are coincide. Then we are asking that at least one of the arcs formed by them is not greater than S by 24. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
What is that we done is that I constructed first a triangle. The triangle divided the circumference into 3 arcs, right? Then I am putting a square inside. So at least 2 vertices of the square should be in the same arc created by the triangle. So that is what I drawn here. AB arc and MN part is there. Okay. Now I am telling that the distance AM or BN is at most S by 24. So the proof now it is a calculations. Okay. So now the next question is this. During a month with 30 days, a football team plays at least 1 game a day, but no more than 45 games. So so there are so many problems. So it is switchover is little maybe difficult. So I'm giving some time to you. Now this is a new question. During a month of 30 days, a football team plays at least 1 game a day, but no more than 45 games. Show that there must be a period of some number of days during which the team plays exactly 14 games. Exactly 14 games. Okay. So what I'm doing is that first I'm to make it create pigeonholes and pigeons. So we need to start with something. Let AJ be the number of games played on or before J. Is it clear? AJ is the number of games played on or before J. For example, A1 is the number of games played on first day. Right? A2 is number of games played on first day as well as with the second day. So together, how many? So I hope you are clear with why AJ is license between 1 and 45. So if you are clear, please click yes, at least this part. If you are clear with this what AJ is, please click yes. Okay, good. So now what we are, so now this is the idea we have, right? So what is that we are doing is that, so now I am adding AJ plus 14. AJ plus 14 is 15. AJ minimum value is 1, right? A1 value is 1. A2 is at least 2. Okay, you know that part. So now AJ plus 14. I am adding 14 to A1, I am adding 14 to A2 and so on. So now I have total 60 positive integers, right? And A1, A2, AN, they are increasing. A1 plus 14, A2 plus 1, they are also increasing. Okay, now, so now can you say something now? This much I am given you. So can you, somebody can say what are pigeons and what are pigeonholes? Yeah, Shubham Jaiswal, you want to say something? Shubham? Yeah, Shivam Kumar Tripathi. Shivam Kumar.
There are 30 pigeons and 45.
I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah. values are 1 to 45. AJ plus 14 are in between 15 to 59, right? The total 60 positive integers. Yeah, Tithi. Shivam.
Satya, would you like to ask why there are 60 positive integers?
Yeah, okay.
I think we should foresee the problem of the...
Yeah, yes. So, see, why there are 60 positive integers?
I'm thinking.
Okay. Why there are 60 positive integers? I think, see, we are taking A1, A2, A3 up to A30, right? These are some numbers. There are 30 numbers. Now A1 plus 14, A2 plus 14, and so on, A30 plus 14. There are another 30 numbers, right? But what are the possible values they assume? What is the minimum value they will assume together, and what is the maximum value they assume together? Yeah, good. Yeah, so I'm just proceeding. So by pigeonhole principle, two of these integers has to be equal, because with the numbers are maximum is 59 here, right? So A1 up to A30, A1 plus 14 up to A1 plus 30, so total 60 numbers, but maximum of these is 59 only. So 59 numbers and 59 pigeonholes and 60 numbers. So at least two of them has to be equal. But those equal may not come from A1s. Why? That we need to think. That is easy, it seems. So it is because every day at least one game is playing. So A1, A2 up to A30, they are all distinct. Try to understand that. And A1 plus 14, A2 plus 14 up to A30 plus 14, they are also distinct. So try to understand that part. But out of these 60, two of them are equal. That means that A and there exist I and J. I in A1, A2, A30, J in A1 plus 14 up to A30 plus 14, such that they are equal. So AI is equal to AJ plus 14. So there is difference. So that is what. So 14 games played in from J plus 1 to day I. Okay. Yeah. So I'm proceeding further. Okay. So you can think about further again. So note down and you can think about this. So one more question on combinatorics. So for example, there is a chess tournament and participants are there. Okay. So two players play one game against each other. Okay. So then it is true that at any given point of time, there are at least two players who have finished the same number of games. A chess tournament and participants are there. Any two players will play one game against each other. Then it is true that at any given point of time, there is two players who have finished the same number of games. So if you are not following this, I'll tell you in another way, this question in another professor. You know, friends, Facebook friends, right? So you take any n people. So I'm saying that A is friend to B, then B is also friend to A. So now we are counting number of friends each student will have, each person will have, right? So you take any n people, number of friends, if I am taking, so at least two people will be there, they have same number of friends always. That is the question. Okay. Yeah, Tanu, yeah, please Tanu.
Yes, sir. Here, if there are n participants, then each player can play with at most n-1 other participants.
Right,
So
right.
for each participant, it may be 1 or 2 or up to n-1.
Yeah.
So there will be two participants who will have played same number of games.
Right.
By pigeonhole principle.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay. What is he saying is that, so are you able to see that this slide?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So actually, another way to say is that, see, let us now look at the friends also, right? So I have there are n people, okay? So playing a game against each other, also friends each other, both are same, right? So now there is a person 1, right? So person 1, person 2, like that, we have n persons, so right? So now if P1 and P2 are friends, I'll put an edge here, okay? So P2 and P3 are friends, I'll put an edge here. So like that I am putting. So this is called a graph. Okay. Now, so the number of friends, so at P2, so that is called a degree of that vertex. Degree of the vertex means number of edges incident with that vertex. Okay. So I have so many, so I am now constructing a graph with the persons, and there is an edge between them whenever they are friends. Okay. No, do not say that one-way friendship like that. Both are friends. Okay. So now what we are claiming is that among these people, at least you take any n people, at least 2 people will have the same number of friends. Okay, what is that Tanu is saying that? So Tanu saying is, so if I take any person, that person may have at most n-1 friends, right? Okay, and so minimum number of friends is 0. So a person may not have friends at all. So 0 to n-1 friends are possible for any person, but there are total n persons are there. So at least 2 persons will have same number of friends, because now pigeon holes are 0 to n-1, pigeons are n persons. Okay.
No, so it was just one small point.
Yes, sir.
Because the friends are this thing, because here,
yes, sir,
the friends are mutual. If someone has 0 number of friends, then no one else will have n-1 many friends.
Yeah, that is also okay. Yeah.
So I mean, because of that, so number of people n, but number of friends possible, either way, it is n-1.
Yeah, right. That is so I'm now giving the proof actually.
Yes.
As you know, in the graph we have n vertices. The degree of each vertex is a number of lies in between 0 to n-1, right? And consequently, if 2 vertices have to same degree, if no 2 vertices have same degree, for example, so we are going in a contradictory way. If no 2 vertices have same degree, then the degree is now going to be 0 to n-1, right? 0 is also included, n-1 is also included. But as sir told, but if one vertex have degree n-1, that means that he has a friend with everybody, right? In that case, we cannot have a constant degree 0 will not possible. Is it okay? That's what Baba sir is saying. Okay. Yeah, that is the same thing. That problem can be stated in this way also. So that any group of n people, so there are 2 of them identical number of friends in the group. So is it clear to you? If you are clear, please tick yes.
Satya?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's about time.
Yeah, so I'll just state one problem, sir, and I'll stop, sir.
Okay.
Actually, I'm want to tell Dirichlet theorem also, but time is not there. Okay, so one more problem is that so show that in a group of 6 people, where any two people are either friends or enemies. Okay, I'm taking group of 6 people, where any 2 people are either friends or enemies. So now my claim is that there are either 3 mutual friends or 3 mutual enemies. Okay, so that is the question. So I'm just telling you so fix a person A and take 2 pigeonholes, one for friends of A and other for enemies of A, right? So now A has, there are 5 remaining people are there, but only 2 holes are there, right? So at least one hole has to contain 3 people. What I want to say this way. So A now B, C, D, E, F are the remaining people. So at least the 3 friends will be there, or 2 enemies will be there, or 3 enemies will be there, 2 friends will be there, right? So now I'm putting blue line for the friends, red line for the enemies. Okay, now what happens next? Now B and C, either they are friends or enemies. If they are friends, then I have a blue triangle, right? Then they are mutually friends to each other. If C and D are friends, again I have a blue triangle. They are mutually friends to each other. B and D similarly. But if none of them, B, C, D are friends to each other, then I have a red triangle among B, C, D. So they are mutually enemies. So anyway, this is done. Okay, but we need at least 6 people to have this scenario. With 5 people, you cannot do. Means, so I am telling in terms of graph theory. So this is called a complete graph, means there is an edge between any 2 vertices. So if I take a complete graph with the 6 vertices and you color the edges with either blue or red, then at least blue triangle or red triangle will be there. That is the problem, right? So with 5 vertices, you can construct without blue triangle or red triangle. I given that here. So this is a complete graph, means a graph with 5 vertices. There is an edge between any 2 vertices, but I can color the edges in such a way that there is no blue red triangle and blue triangle. Okay. So this problem can be extended. That is called Ramsey theory. So this is a very nice area. So in future, somebody can go into very, very large open problems are available here. So, and those problems are so very tough. Ramsey theory states that there exists a positive integer Rs, for which every blue red edge coloring of a complete graph on Rs vertices contains either blue click of R vertices. Click means again a complete graph inside. Okay, or R click up with S vertices. So yeah, so for example, R33 is 6. Okay, R33 is 6. Okay, so this is some directions are there. So like that, people extended these results into Erdos-Jacquard's theorem and all. So now this area is very much developed in additive combinatorics. So recently one nice theorem proved by Terenstoy and Green. So they're using this technique, extended pigeonhole principle technique, to prove many results. So it is a very vibrant area, that is I want to say. So okay, I'll stop here, sir. Yeah. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Are there any questions? Perhaps you could give some references,
Yeah.
Satya.
Yeah, so actually I followed books on discrete mathematics. So for example, discrete mathematics by Thomas Cauchy, discrete mathematics by Grimaldi. So there are so many discrete mathematics books written, and there we have another thing is that there are many combinatorics books. Combinatorics, there we can have, this is one of the topic, pigeonhole principle. Right? So my point is that this is one of the proof technique. Like, so you will use say for example, you will use induction, mathematical induction several places, right? Like that, this pigeonhole principle is a very nice technique. With this, you can prove many results. So it will give a lot of confidence if you start solving the problems. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Hope you enjoyed this whole lecture. There are so many things left to be told. I think I have noticed that there were 90 slides and we have gone to 62. Okay. Now, please let us know about your comments. What do you think? And you can suggest us also some other topics you want to know in this way. And I thank to Satyanarayan sir for giving this talk. And let's see that so many things we have, I mean, this topic touched like geometry, then comes combinatorics. If we have a time, we can go to Dirichlet theorem, then we can move into analysis. So we can appreciate the links between some topics which are somehow compartmentalized in our studies. So, okay. And I thank you all. Thank you, MTTS Trust, and all other professors for helping and making this lecture happen. Thank you all. Thank you to Satyanarayan sir for giving his time and giving this wonderful lecture.
The Curry Leaf has kick-started its activities. What I would like to appeal to the audience today is that please join hands, please come forward, make it a platform so that you all can develop, you can share your ideas, share your experiences, okay, and grow together. We can join hands and we can organize and we can carry on various activities for the greater cause of learning mathematics. Thank you all.
I just want to say something. It's thank you all especially Professor Satyanarayana Reddy for this lecture, and the CurryLeaf team and the MTTS Trust. If you have any suggestions for improvement, and more importantly, if you have any suggestions for future topics in the series, please let us know. We want to cater to students of BSc and MSc, and also to have serve as a platform, okay, to develop further interest in mathematics. Okay, so suggest something you would like to learn, which will also be of interest to large cross section of the society. Okay, you do not come to say suggest something which you only want to learn. Okay, it should serve a larger community. That's it. I think can we end? curryleaf50@gmail.com. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all. Let's hope we will meet again. Okay, and keep watching MTTS site for further announcement, future announcement of the activities. Okay, and please subscribe to CurryLeaf